All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Monday, ladies and gentlemen, the 19th of January, 2026. Look, I wanted to pick up on the metals right now, the precious metals, because, well, they have reacted again. We know that this is the hot topic right now. We know that gold and silver is off the charts together with copper. But look, I wanted to quickly do a little update again because during the weekend we had some geopolitical moves again. And look, in my Markets Talk webinars, I kind of warned you that at the moment we're going to be going through this period where things are going to be escalating, happening, and most of the time it will be happening during the weekend because we know that. It would the Normally the escalations do have its effects on the financial market, and in order to kind of maybe not to force the stock market to crash, maybe to give a little bit of time for damage control, it normally happens during the weekend. So if you want to invade a country or some, let's say something, it's better to do it on a weekend. If you want to announce some tariffs, it's better to do it on a weekend. So look, this is the world that we're living in right now, unfortunately. But let's pick up on the metals. This is, like I said, in this little short video, we'll cover gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and we'll jump into copper as well. Before we go any further, as always, there is a disclaimer. The content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. So yeah, like I said, it's the crazy world that we're living in right now. The precious metals cannot, let's say, get enough of anything. Yeah, I think the bulls are just dictating the rules, and that's it. We're crazy high up. But eventually what comes up must come down, right? But we're not there yet. Also, a quick mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the gold chart. Now, look, last week I talked about it in my Markets Talk webinar, and basically we had this barrier, the 4,643 to come by. We had to overcome it in order to go higher. So we did that, and I was telling everybody, look, although we were seeing a little bit of retracement to the downside at the end of last week, the bears should not get their hopes up yet, because I think that there is still more room for some more upside. You probably see all these like headlines. Some of the major financial institutions are kind of giving their prognosis, their projections towards maybe that gold will hit 5,000. I think it's kind of doable, but let's not rush into things, okay? Now look, with gold, for now, yes, I'm leaning towards the upside. We cleared the previous now all-time high near the 4,643. This morning, we hit an area closer to the 4,700. To do another kind of 300-point move for gold, I don't think it's a problem. But what I'm watching here right now is something else. Now, on one hand, 5,000 looks attractive, but let's face it, whenever everybody starts talking about a nice, beautiful number, okay, sometimes it happens. Sometimes the market goes closer to that level, teases us a little bit. Let's say, for example, it could hit 4,950, fail to hit the 5,000, and then reverse back down, because we all know that at some point this will have to go down. Look, this is a monthly chart, right? Sorry about the arrows here, but basically you can see the candle. This is a monthly candle. This is a January candle. Wow, what a move here. If I'm gonna just try to figure out how much we have already done this month, from the beginning of this month, well, we already did not a full 10%, right? It's like 8 and almost 0.5%. To drag it all the way higher, and to do, let's say, to hit 5,000. Let me just go here a little bit. To do 5,000 or get closer to 5,000, that's overall hitting around 15% for the month. Have we seen that happening before? Yes, we did. So basically, in one of these months, for example, here in September, we did around 11%. So it is doable. It is possible to hit 15%, especially when we're when we have so much demand for it right now due to the geopolitical situation. I think that, like I said, it is possible, but I'm being very careful, and I'm not targeting actually the 5,000. I'm targeting the 4,900 first, because from for this month, let's say if it wants to go just to the 4,900, then what we're looking at here is a approximate gain of around 13.5%, roughly, right? A little bit more maybe than that, but still, it's a little bit more realistic. Now, I why I'm, let's say, targeting the area close to the 5,000? Well, because of history. Look, back in 2011, right, when we were also seeing this major rally right here, right? Everybody was talking about the 2,000 level. Look at this. We tested 1,920, and then we sold off. So basically, everybody who had profit targets at around 2,000, well, they were a little bit disappointed, to put the least. And even like here back in 1980, 1980, this big rally as well that we had, everybody was probably targeting the 900, the even maybe even 1,000 level. So imagine this: you were probably, after seeing this major rally, you were targeting the 1,000. You thought that it's kind of a piece of cake, right, to go there. So and gold just goes there, fails to reach that 1,000 level, not to mention the 900, and then sells off. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not rushing into conclude. I mean, I like the 5,000, but I'm being very careful. Okay, I don't want to rush into things right now. Even take into consideration the fact that we have already rallied quite a lot. Now, look, silver is probably another, no, well, not probably, but another important metal here, which is going crazy and growing crazy off the charts. It's having a better gain than gold, because look at this. This is a January candle, honestly, and we're not even done with January. We're already doing 29% for the month. I mean, this is spectacular. This is, talk about speculation, right? So, long story short, for this one, I've talked in my Markets Talk webinar last week that I think for silver to do 100, I think it's more realistic, actually. And I think that 100, we're not far away from there. And honestly, I will stick to 100. Now, that round number I do like, because it's still cheap. It's still relatively in relation to gold. Now, in terms of relation to gold, now one chart I really wanted to show you again, and because why I'm saying again, because I like I said, I talked about it in my Markets Talk webinar. Now this one right here. So this is the ratio between gold and silver. So basically, we can see that the how many times, gold is more expensive than silver, basically. So we were there was a moment, right, in the beginning of 2025 when gold was 100 times more expensive than silver. Look at this. We have that. We have that, and it's now around 50. And I think that there is still room for some more downside. This means that silver, in a way, could go towards that 100 level, but let's say gold could be lagging, in a push higher. And like I said, for me, I still believe that this ratio could fall further. And okay, if I am applying technical analysis on this ratio, then, well, I will say that, look at this. We have a little upside line here drawn from the lowest point of 1980. And this is the big moment. This is when the silver had its beautiful rally to the upside. Let me just jump into silver back again. So this is what I'm talking about. And then we drifted back down. 2011, another big rally, drifted, then sold off. So silver at this point is doing that third parabolic move. Eventually it will fall. Eventually, we all know that. We all understand that. The only thing is that we don't know when. So that's where I'm trying to find some sort of logic in all this. and applying my technical analysis here. So I'm looking at this ratio, and like I said, there is an opportunity potentially maybe to go towards that 41 area, 41 ratio, meaning that silver actually would need to surpass even the 100 level, and that's why I'm kind of quite confident with the 100 level, or gold should kind of stay around where it is right now, 4,700, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's why I think maybe actually silver, if silver goes to that 100, but let's say gold stays around 4,700, then yes, you get yourself something like around 47 ratio here. If gold does go to 4,900, stalls there, but let's say silver surpasses the 100 and goes, let's say, towards 120, 130, then yes, I mean, you can do the math, and we could in a way end up somewhere around this area here. So again, theory, don't get me wrong, this is just like an idea because we're trying to find some sort of logic in all this. The markets are right now crazy. Everything is driven by geopolitics, and silver and gold are off the charts, not to mention those other metals, which I'll jump into in a bit. So that's why I just wanted to run this by you, show you what it is. I mean, look, you can stick to it. You don't need to stick to it. It's just, like I said, it's for you, just kind of a little bit of food for thought. You can always comment in the box below if you agree or not. Maybe I'm missing something, but again, this is something, like I said, this is my personal analysis. Let's see if this is going to work out or not. But yeah, there is, I think, the 50, the psychological 50 ratio. I think that this is, yes, this is where we're currently stuck. But I do believe that there is more room for some downside, because again, we have seen this happening in two times in history already, 1980 and 2011. This is the third time in history we're going through something like this, where silver is off the charts to the upside. So let's see how further it can go. And like I said, this could a little bit help you a little bit more in life. Hopefully. Anyway, let's jump into another precious metal very quickly, platinum. So look, platinum, again, I'm going to stick to the monthly chart for now, but with platinum, it also rallied significantly, right? And it also had a great run here from the beginning of 2025. Look at this major run, 170%. That was reached at one point in December. January, we are actually struggling a little bit, as you can see. Although silver and gold are rallying like hell, this one actually calmed down a little bit. And to me, that's why I'm saying that I am a believer of the downside at some point, right? Whatever comes up must come down, but we always don't know when. But that's the big game that we're playing here. So looking at platinum, now we have surpassed a beautiful level here of 2,299, which basically is the highest point of 2008. This is, remember what happened in 2008? Yeah, we don't need to remind you that, right? So and then we surpassed that in December, but we failed to stay above it. Right now, January, we have surpassed that as well, but we're struggling actually to overcome the December high. And now what's interesting is, are we going to stay at the end of January? Are we going to stay above this 2,299, or actually we're going to stay below it? If we do stay below it, that could potentially be a little bit of a bad signal for the bulls, I would say. So maybe the market could be shifting towards maybe a little bit of profit taking on platinum, and we could see a little bit of a retracement back down, maybe back to the 2000s, maybe a little bit below that. So hey, why not? So I'm keeping an eye very much on this highest point of 2008. Let's see what's going to happen at the end of this month. Palladium, I do like palladium. Now this is a little bit of a different animal. It has been on the lows for some time now, and recently it picked up buying interest. Look at this, and it pushed higher. Look, I think that if the metals, other metals, the top metals are going to start selling off, I think palladium will get hit as well. However, I don't believe that it's going to get hit too much, because there is still value in this one. It still could move back up, maybe go for that 50% retracement on the Fibonacci, because look at this. We have peaked at 2022, and basically here, we found support. We found support around 838, 40, something like that, and then we rallied. So Look, another thing to remember here is that one of the top exporters of palladium is Russia, and if there is a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, then basically I think that some sanctions could get removed, and palladium is going to be probably one of those metals that will have will flood the market again, and this is where the price could go back down. So just keep that in mind, unless the demand for palladium suddenly is going to shoot up. So basically, we could see this scenario working out. There's a peace deal, Russian palladium goes back into the market, and then suddenly everybody starts pushing towards electric vehicles again. Everything is, in that direction again, and basically there we go. We have palladium, demand shooting up. So look, it is of course as always a 50-50 coin toss, but again, at the moment, I'm watching this one carefully. It's finding good resistance from the technical side. It's finding good resistance near the 38.2 here on the Fibonacci retracement. If it continues to hold, I think there is a chance for a retracement back to at least the 1,450 zone, somewhere there. And finally, copper. Look, this one, of course, it's everywhere. It's needed everywhere. It's a good conductor. But the thing is, what I look at copper is that if suddenly the stock market and the whole technology sector does get a little bit put on the brakes a little bit. Now I think this is where what could impact copper more. So despite the kind of the gold and silver, maybe let's say moving either way, I think with copper it's going to be more dependent on just on the stock market and specifically on the technology sector. So keep your eyes on that. If suddenly all your Nvidias and AMDs and Taiwan semiconductors are going to start reversing a little bit to the downside, then yeah, I think that copper could be seen correcting also slightly lower. But again, that's my view. Let me know if you agree or not in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found this video useful. Maybe, like I said, maybe something that I said that you didn't see before, but or maybe you saw it before as well. So, like I said, let me know what you think. As always, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. Have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose. Don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I shall see you in my next little video update. Bye for now.